Some really good talks today, and this actually leads really nicely on from Zoe's talk, so I'm quite happy that you said a lot of the things you said just then. I'm going to introduce you to a few people. This is Charlotte. She's actually a doctor. Charlotte specializes in stress, sleep disorders, panic attacks, anxiety, and mental health. She's an expert, right? This is one of these people that you want working with your brands to get you that coverage in the news article, the media outlets that you want. Oh, and she's trusted. She's appeared in the Metro. She's appeared in the Sun, Express, Good to Know, and Giddy. She's appeared this year. She's spoke on comments. She's commented on leukemia. So real hard-hitting subjects that are important that you need to get right. She likes Sudoku. She likes painting. This is all according to her bio. And she even likes long walks on the beach. Now, Charlotte, she uses services such as Harrow and Response Source to get in the press. So for those of you who don't know what Harrow and Response Source is, it's where journalists can reach out to PRs looking for comments to help them with their articles. And a lot of us in the room will do this, and it's a good way to secure backlinks back to for our clients. Now, she does this for the adult toy industry, vaping industry, and CBD. And we saw earlier today that there was a CBD brand that had a really good expert commenting and really helping to get in the press. So not a problem with all this. But the problem is, she's not real. And she's been appearing in the media all year. When you search on the General Medical Council, which is basically a website that every GP, every doctor in this country has to register on, you can't find her. She has no social following either. You can't find her on LinkedIn. And if you do a reverse image search, you'll just find a few of these websites that she's appearing on. So is this a one-off? Can't be happening all the time, right? You can't be having these. Maybe it's just a persona. Someone didn't want to put out their actual face in the media, and that's fair enough. So maybe it's just a one-off. This is Kimberly. Kimberly reached out to a reporter using Harrow. So a journalist for Insider. The journalist is called Julia. So Julia was looking for someone to talk to who got a tattoo to cover up a scar. So Charlotte reached out and basically said she'd undergone a mastectomy in her fight against cancer, a double mastectomy, and she got a tattoo to cover it up. So the journalist and Kimberly went back and forth a bit, talking about her experience. She said stuff like, seeing my scarred chest in the mirror was a constant reminder of what she had lost. She felt like reclaiming her body, the tattoo was claiming my body back, taking control back of something that cancer had taken me from. Now, in exchange for helping out the journalist, she just wanted one thing, a backlink. Again, it's not, I would say it's not really a problem. It's not abnormal. Maybe Kimberly is a founder of a business and she maybe wants that publication. There's a bit of back and forth because journalists and PRs, we work together a lot. There's a bit of to and fro, and we want to help each other out. So don't have a huge problem with that. Or was it a problem? Yep, you guessed it, Kimberly was fake too. So the journalist, Julia, ended up writing a completely different article about how she discovered that Kimberly was basically just a ChatGPT bot. She ran through her emails back through the AI test online. You can basically see how much is AI generated. It turns out, shock, that every bit of text was 100% confirmed to be AI. And then she also looked at the picture closely, and then there was some dodgy stuff with the earring and the eyebrow, and basically it was a mid-journey image or one image which was done by AI and just pieced together. So she ended up writing a completely different article. Now, both situations were basically companies trying to game the system, trying to get backlinks so they can get up in the Google SERPs, which is essentially what we do online PR for. Now, Google says all sorts of stuff about this with experience, expertise, authority, and trust. And obviously, there's been lots of conversations today. This, obviously, the practice does not help any of this. I'm James. I co-founded a digital PR agency called Bottled Imagination. Luke was speaking earlier, and Kate is going to speak on Friday. Real go and check that talk out if you can. And I'm going to be talking about black hat digital PR. Something which I've not really heard being said before, but coined the term. We'll see what happens. So what is it? You've all heard of black hat SEO, right? So for the SEOs in the room who've been doing this for a long time, they were basically manipulating search engines with these black hat tactics. So that might be buying links or something called cloaking. Cloaking was when they showed something different to the search engine than what they actually showed their users, so they would get higher up the SERPs. But the difference is in black hat GDPR, instead of we're manipulating search engines, we're manipulating journalists and consumers through the media. And I don't have to tell you about how the ethics in this is very questionable, especially in the your money, your life categories that some of you are working in. And especially if we're tricking consumers, this is ethically horrendous. So I'm going to go through 3 black hat GDPR tactics. They're actually happening right now. And it's like shocking that they're actually happening and working and tricking the media, tricking Google. And the first one is disinformation for links. So the difference between disinformation and misinformation: disinformation is when someone spreads information that is false, but they know about it. Misinformation is when you see something get shared, but they thought it was real. So you can't entirely blame it sometimes, but disinformation happens all the time. So what we just saw with those 2 fake AI personas or experts was disinformation. And it's happening because AI and tech has made the barrier to entry really low. Anyone can run quick hacks. You've all been on ChatGPT. You can all do that. And you can get an expert comment very quickly. And it's been happening for a long time in SEO and content as well. There's going to be lots of talks over the next 2 days, especially after the most recent Google search update, about how content is being pumped out all the time. I saw a tweet here the other day from Lily Ray. She's a really good follower on Twitter. She saw an author bio, and she reversed image searched that page on that bio page. Well, it's also in loads of Amazon projects, so a completely fake expert again. Pretty sure you'll be hearing AI a lot over the next few days. And the problem is becoming widespread. So NewsGuard basically did a study where they found 49 fake news websites, and it's going up all the time. So these websites are saying they are news, but they're completely fake, and they're completely just AI content. So 1, celebrity deaths. And they ended up publishing something called saying Biden was dead and Harris was the acting president. Completely disinformation. They're just trying to trick the system to get clicks, to get something ranking. Got another one here on the right-hand side, pretending to look a bit like CNN. And you can see the headline used in this article was actually just a prompt that ChatGPT said saying that they couldn't do that because the language model doesn't have access to external information. So they didn't even bother checking it. And these things are pumping hundreds and hundreds of articles out per day and just making a load of crap content on the internet. And it's leaking into PR. Blocked out some of the names, so basically there's people promoting that they've got these hacks so that they can just use ChatGPT, link it up to Harrow. As soon as Harrow sends all the daily email out for all the journalists looking things, it just links into ChatGPT. They'll write an expert comment and it will send it back straight away. Bang, you've got a backlink. Really bad, unethical practices. And it's an issue for consumers and brands, obviously, if you're not going to trust a brand. But also, it's an issue for us as PR professionals. We work in the media. We are working with journalists all the time. We want people to trust the news. We want the news agenda to be a trusted source of information for everyone. But in reality, trust is lower than ever. Only 32% of Brits trust the news most of the time. That's from Statista. Trust's more important than ever. You saw Google Eat earlier on. They're taking it really seriously. And even people say that 71% say it's more important to trust a brand than ever before. That comes from a study from Edelman. And 58% of consumers, which is what you all care about if you're working for your clients or your brand side, they're more likely to buy if they trust the brand. Are consumers or Google really going to trust the brand that puts out fake comments masquerading as an expert? I wouldn't. The next one is irrelevant campaigns, which are happening a lot. I'm not going to go into too much or say any campaigns because I'll get in trouble. But essentially, the same study by Edelman said everyone said who got surveyed that 76% said that a brand's attempt to engage often goes wrong because they lack relevance. So what is a relevant campaign? We've covered on it a lot today, but I essentially think about it really simply, that you want to be in the sweet spot here, so what you want to talk about, what the journalists want to talk about, and what your consumer cares about. And if you can hit all 3 things, that's your sweet spot. And an irrelevant campaign is literally not caring what their consumer thinks about, not caring what they want to talk about. They're just thinking, what can I get in the press, what in the media? So essentially, it's not helping them as a brand, and it's not helping their consumers. And it often happens in hard industries. So gambling, crypto, some finance, and I'd say a hard industry is not an excuse. We showed a case study the other day. Luke showed one, said it a lot in a much more funny way than me, but we created a fake footballer for a gambling client for a Gambling Awareness Week. And we also worked with a crypto client, and we did basically looked at misinformation on TikTok to do with cryptocurrency. So just because it's a hard industry doesn't mean you can't do relevant campaigns. And the last one, which I'm seeing quite a lot of, is spray, pray, and hope, which is basically you download mass media lists, thousands of journalists' emails, and you just mass bulk spend an email. Like Zoe just said earlier, she wants personalized emails straight sent to her. And this, obviously, if you're sending out a couple of thousand emails a day, you're not going to get the results you want. So why is this happening? Because we know it's wrong. The people who are doing this can't think it's a good tactic. Why is this thing happening? Now, Warren Buffett is one of the most famous investors in the world. He owns Berkshire Hathaway, super clever, intelligent, rich man. He basically does one thing with his investing, and it's a super simple strategy. He just buys a stock in the stock which he thinks is good, and he holds it for a very long time. And it's common that everyone thinks it's a super simple strategy. Zuckerberg, who owns Meta, you all know him, he basically asked him one time, like, why does everyone not do this? It's so simple. And he just comes back with the answer is no one wants to get rich slowly. So I'm saying it's because no one wants to build organic growth slowly, and it does take time. But at the end of the day, people are wanting quick results, and it just does take time to do so. We know from history that short-term gains tend to end in long-term detriment. The Penguin update a few years ago, Google wasn't scared to penalize websites that didn't adhere to its guidelines. So is this doing these unethical practices really going to lead you to the long-term gains that you're wanting? Probably not. So this is what I saw a talk by Stephen Kenwright, who used to own Rise at 7 a few weeks ago, and it inspired this next bit. And he said, when a measure becomes a target, it ceases to be a good measure. Now, in our industry, we're typically measured by a link KPI. And journalists decide what's newsworthy, not us. We don't get to do that. And we have little control over follows, no follows, or those annoying affiliate links, which are really annoying as well. Which basically leads us to any link by any means, because links was the KPI. So this is the situation which can happen. There's an agency pitch. We're in a downturn economy, so what the brand cares about is negotiation on price or KPI. They want the most bang for the buck. So the agency, in a down economy, really needs the work. So they overpromise. Yeah, we can hit your 250 link KPI per year. No worries, we'll do that. And because they've got that huge KPI over their head, they resort to any link will do. What will happen then? Churn, and we end in this horrible cycle. And it's because there's a huge battle for attention with journalists. Like you said, journalists, there's less journalists at the moment, and there's loads of PRs, so there's more competition, harder cut through, and there's more stories being pitched to journalists than articles being produced. Apparently, there's 9,000 more PRs than journos, and only less than 2.5% of pitches even get a reply. So what can we do in our industry as PRs? So first of all, I would say is diversify your promotion tactics. There's more channels out there than ever before, and what we do best as PRs is create stories. Now, stories can work across media in the publications that we're targeting, but they can also work on TikTok, any social media. Like if you were to listen to Ash's talk earlier, he talks a lot about influencers and linking in with search. And I'm saying all these campaigns you're doing, you can do them across multiple channels. Because if your only distribution is through a journalist inbox, you need to improve your chances. If you're relying on someone looking at your email at the perfect time, then you've just got a really low chance. And no matter how good, sometimes they might just miss it. As an agency, we really put our focus on the strategy and ideas, so we don't just throw shit at the wall, which tend to be what's happening with the spray and praying, is just throwing shit at the wall and hoping it sticks, hoping one journalist covers it. We really focus on the strategy and ideas that gives better creative execution and measurement. So it doesn't mean you need to outreach more. You just need to target relevant journalists. It's simple. We did a campaign not long ago where we sent 63 emails, and that's probably a pretty small email list for you, and it was a reactive PR. But we got 100% open rate. Now, I'm not going to lie, we thought in the office that that's got to be a glitch, but we checked, no, it was legit. That ended up with over 100 pieces of coverage, and then even Djokovic, who the campaign was about, commented on it in a live interview. So when it's super relevant, you will get the results from that. My second tip, which is my favorite, is just don't dance for the algorithm. Brand growth requires trust, credibility, depth of connection. And that comes by trying stuff that might not be optimized for the algorithm. The most famous campaigns in the world might not have done the most links. And I know certainly some of our most successful campaigns aren't necessarily the ones that got the most links. Because PR will be around before Google, and it will be around after. And that's what to remember what we do with PRs is we build brands. And brand fame and business goals go beyond links and coverage. Now, I'm going to introduce you to the 20% rule, and I really like this, because I'm going to give a little anecdote. Google basically had the 20% rule. They had the best engineers in the world, and they had everyone works 5 days. So 20% of that time was 1 day. And they basically said, 1 day a week, you're the smartest guys here. You need to do something. Just work on your own project that you think will benefit Google as a brand. And what they did was create Gmail as we know it today. And that wasn't the 20% rule didn't have a set ROI. It didn't have a set target to be done. It wasn't focused on profit in mind. It was just do cool shit. Like, do something cool for the brand. They got Gmail. We write a newsletter at Unbottled, and we cover like loads of different creative stuff that I see every single week. And I saw a few weeks ago that a guy who owned a tailoring business in an Asian country, he basically walked up to the top of the mountain in one of his suits. And what happened was, it had no set ROI. He just thought, oh, it's a cool idea. I'm going to walk to the top of the mountain in my suit to say, look how comfortable it is. It ended up going viral on TikTok because people saw him. They made TikToks about it, and they ended up getting global press because of it. Now, I didn't have a set ROI on this. He just thought it was a cool idea, and he's probably got his best ever results in PR from just doing that. So I always want to remember the 20% rule is just doing fun stuff. So what should you take away from my talk? Because it's a bit left field talking about all the bad stuff that's happening out there and what we need to do is improve as an industry. So what should you take away? There are some shady tactics going on, and we need to be aware of it. Don't cave to any link by any means, because your quality will go down because of that. You're going to have loads of talks over today, which is talk about quality and relevance over numbers. So don't cave to any link by any means. Be creative. Don't just do things purely for the algorithm. And I wouldn't be from Bottled Imagination if I didn't say use your imagination. Shout out just to Julia, the journalist who wrote the Business Insider article, Joe O'Reilly, who's a freelancer who did PR freelancer who wrote a Search Engine Land article, which was super informative for this, and Stephen Kenwright, who inspired some of this. If you scan that QR code, it takes you to our website, and you can see the articles and see Joe's article as well, and just do any of the sources that I've used. And then, yeah, sign up to my newsletter because I tend to write fun stuff. Thank you.